Right then guys, afternoon. Something's just turned up and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit excited. Sony have sent me this. They got in touch and basically said, we've got a new unit, we want you to test it out, have a little look at it, tell us what you think. So here we have the Sony XAV-AX6050, and I'll tell you what, first impressions, I am loving this. I like the fact that the buttons are in the middle and it's not like a partition of the screen. You'll also notice that there's very little surround on the screen, as in like the screen goes all the way to the edges and it's not spoilt by some big ass plastic edging. That looks already super exciting. It's got CarPlay, it's got Android Auto, it's got Bluetooth, it's got digital radio, does wireless as well, both. We have HDMI input, mini, and we also have USB-C. 3 volt charging, and it's got reverse cameras and everything else, capable of having that. Right, so we're going to take this upstairs, we're going to do a little unboxing. Stay tuned, see you in a bit. Right then guys, I thought we'd come upstairs for this one, and we'd do it some justice and have some proper lighting. So this, like I say, the XAV-AX6050. It's got some really nice touches to the screen already. We've talked about the buttons and how it looks with regards to picture size, screen, and the little buttons across the bottom. I'm not going to mention the unit, but you know which one my favourite unit has been to date, and that has all the markings of a good unit. I like it already, just because the screen looks so big and the buttons are across the bottom. We've got, on the unboxing, various instructions, instruction manuals in lots of different languages. Italian, English, French, German, Russian, yeah, you name it, there's a book for everyone, just about. Then in the box itself, we have our unit. Let's just pull him out. There he is. So it's well packed. Comes in these little cardboard carriers. Obviously Sony, aware of the damage to the environment and doing their bit to not wrap everything in polystyrene that you see some of the other guys. So we get a bag, we get a unit. This is a doubled in screen, and by that I mean this shape is more like a square than the single DIN, which is more like a letterbox. So doubled in screen, but the chassis, which is this piece, obviously is a single, as you can see there. So it's great for applications where you have on, let's say, some of the E46s, the BMWs used to have a heater box that sat right underneath the radio, so it was always a problem. Unless you had a really short chassis radio, you could not put a double DIN in a BMW at one point because of this. Sony obviously keeping to their ways. We've seen a few single DIN units from them where we've got a single DIN chassis but a double DIN fascia, which allows for lots of applications with regards to space and the size of the unit. It's really well thought out. Nice small cage, lots of tabs being able to use and fix on different occasions. Even has the screws in the main body of the chassis as well, so you could screw it into something like a Japanese car that has its own frame anyway. You just remove the tabs, pop the cage out, and you can just use your, you know, your cage, your OE bits. But look at that, what a really nice unit already. Dead impressed with that. I love the look of it, I like the simplicity. I like the fact that it's a big screen, and I like the fact that these buttons pop out the bottom. Comes with a trim ring, obviously a double DIN cage, but it does have a fin in the center to control where the single DIN bit goes, which is perfectly acceptable. We've got a little sticker on the front that tells you that obviously this unit is Wi-Fi compatible, and then across the bottom we've got various buttons from, let's have a little look. We've got standby mode, so on and off. We've got volume up and down. Now this button in the center, this is like an options key, so you can actually program that to be different things, which is very cool. You've got the search up, search down, and you can press and hold these to go through different menus as well. They have different functions, these buttons, and a voice button on the end. Nicely thought out, really simple, big screen all the way pretty much to the edges. But obviously if you're putting this through a fascia kit that already has an opening for a double DIN, it will look like your screen, it's like the first of the large plasmas back in the day, when your screen just seemed to go on forever. When you do away with a big frame on a radio, it makes the unit look bigger, and that's a really nice touch. We've got a bag of bits, so let's look into here. So already I can see some familiar things. Let's pop them open. Excuse the knuckle, I cut myself earlier. So we've got microphone. This is usually with Sony, we've got a 3.5mm jack. Do we? Yeah, we do. So 3.5mm jack on a 90-degree right angle. Little, as my dad calls them, tomato ties to keep the cables together. What length have we got? Oh gosh, loads. So usually we do find that some microphones, the cabling is a bit short. When you're trying to put them into big camper vans that have massive windscreens, there's always an issue that you can't get the microphone right around the top. But there's plenty of length on this cable. That's probably 2 meters at least, I'd say, given by my arm span. So it comes with a poppable roof clip. On the earlier ones, we would normally cut these down and then just a sticky pad in the middle and stick that up to the center light on the car itself, in the sort of map light you call it area. But this time Sony actually give you a little pedestal, so you can take that off. Comes with a sticky pad. Fix your pedestal on, little pop, and then you can put on your double-sided sticky pad and actually have like a nicer looking clip. So if you have a center light, you can use this to poke the cable out central, and it just makes the little cable run nicer than a big hoop. But obviously if you don't have a center light, you can use this on the windscreen. I don't like putting them too close to the glass because they can pick up a lot of wind noise and rain. If your wipers are noisy on your car, your mic will pick that up too. But that's cool, I like that. Then we've got release keys, Sony style release keys. If you're using this kind of style factory cage, then you will need these to get the radio out. You'll pop off your trim ring first off. They're usually a little bit of a struggle when they're new, but yeah, just unclips, and then you slide your release key, one down one side, one down the other side, and you'll be able to slide the radio out. We've also got some dome coarse head screws for the side fixing. So we talked about earlier about the Japanese style cars that have the built-in frame for the stereos. That's what you'd use these for. Very nice to have supplied. Doesn't mean you have to go looking for them, which is great. We have a USB Type-C extension. So this is the kind of fast chargy one, the high power one. So this is 3 volts, and you've got USB Type-C one end and a female USB Type-C the other end. So obviously this goes into the back of the stereo. That's going to go where your phone charging is, so you can use your high powered lead, keep them thirsty iPhones charged. So one of those, and that is, as a guess, I'd say just over a meter 25, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but that's a rough guess due to my size. Then we get into the nitty gritty of the wiring. We've got standard kind of radio plug, shall we say, and the usual things here, nothing untoward, nothing you won't have seen before. So we've got a speaker ISO, front left, front right, rear right. Yeah, there we go. Yellow, obviously your permanent live for your memory. Red is your ignition. Black is your earth. Orange on this one, the orange and the white stripe is your illumination. Blue is your amp remote or antenna output, so keeping your 12-volt system active, either a powered antenna or electric aerial or an amp turn on. Now pink is usually telephone mute if it's needed. Usually telephone mute. Can't really read what that says on the writing, but that's probably my eyes. And our green wire. Now this is the part break earth. Now normally with this we don't have this massive length. Normally has to go down to your handbrake earth, and the idea being is that when you put your handbrake on, this cable would either ground out or show a positive. That would tell the unit that it's safe to play and do its full potential rather than letting you watch films and drive around. We normally cut this off halfway down and then solder it to the black, but that choice is yours. Obviously, if you're going to be driving around watching films and crash and kill somebody, on your head be it, stupidity. Then we have our little kind of like a Molex, white little Molex plug, which has a RCA's outputs or phono outputs, depending on which way you flex. We've got camera in, so reverse camera input. We've got front and rear outputs, left and right, which will be the pairs of reds and whites, and the sub, which is a mono black. Not every head unit does a stereo output for a subwoofer. At the end of the day, the subwoofer is a ghost frequency. One is enough. You can add a Y lead to it, or obviously run that into a different amplifier and bridge off of that to give you two feeds. But bass is usually a mono signal anyway. It doesn't necessarily need to be stereo. So that's that. We've also got two little cable ties in the back of the bag there. Now these, it has on the very back, just in this little corner here, it has HDMI mini input and it has the USB Type-C. Also, here in the center, we've got this little funny bracket. When you put your leads in there, you can actually use this to have your leads running across. And here is a cable tie loop that you can basically cable tie your leads to stop them being forced out or wiggled and jiggled out. You can actually cable tie them into the back of the stereo and they'll stay put. That's a clever idea. That not many manufacturers think of these, so well done Sony, that's a bright idea. There's nothing worse than going out to a job and finding a microphone lead or a USB or something is just smidged out the pocket and the phone has stopped working, and that's the downside. With this, not too bad. Obviously this does Wi-Fi, CarPlay and Android Auto, but if you were just cable only, that's a smart idea. And last but not least, in the bag we have a GPS antenna. Now it will come with Sony's choice of plug, which will be that bad boy there, and obviously to release it you just press the top catch there. Little spun wire GPS puck. It will go that way up, pointing to the sky, and it comes with its little metal plate to stick it on. Now some of these are magnetic, some of them are not. This has a double-sided sticky pad on it, one side to the GPS puck, one side will go onto the plate. So wherever you put it, these don't necessarily need to be on top of the dash. The higher up the dash, the better the signal will be. If you imagine this is going to view satellites like a big fat ice cream cone, if you put it under metalwork, it's not going to work very well. Likewise, if you put it inside the dash underneath a pocket and there's nothing but plastic above it, this will see satellites perfectly fine. It doesn't need to be on show. I know a lot of people run these externally on the dash. You don't need to. It will go inside as long as it's at the top of the dash where it's not being shielded by the doors or the windscreen too badly. Obviously, if you have a polarized windscreen, signal will be a problem in the car, and then you may need to find a place where this can get out of the vehicle because you don't want to start encouraging Faraday's cage. But anywhere underneath the dash will work. Don't put it like that in an A-pillar. You're just pointing the signal across the road. If you're in a high-rise area, your GPS signal will be crap. Comes with an extension as well. Little tip, when you're putting this in a vehicle, don't leave the cable coiled up because it acts like a secondary aerial and then your GPS is stuck between the two. Tend to stretch this cable out so this becomes the aerial and stays the aerial. Don't use coiled cables next to it because it kind of confuses where the GPS is and can cause signal issues. So that's that. So the thing we're going to do now is we're going to get this, and I've brought over a little friend which is next to the camera. We're going to power it up and see what it looks like. I am quite excited to see this screen, I must say. It's like going back to the days of having your first flat screen as a kid. Sony aren't paying me to do this, in case you're asking. They've just said, you review stuff, could we send you a unit and tell us what you think? So this is not a paid promotion as such. This is just somebody with a kind of honest opinion, giving you some feedback. So take of my advice what you will. Right, so we are connected. Let's discuss the back of this, shall we? So on the back of the radio, we've got our power plug, only goes in one way. This little blade, this little fan that sticks out the side will cover the blade fuse to stop it falling out. So that will only go in one way, the clip at the top that retains the lead. We've got our USB Type-C and we've got our HDMI mini. That white plug there is for that thing to go into. That's our GPS. That's our remote. So the blue is the 3.5mm jack that will come from a steering wheel control box like CAN or anything like that will go into here. So that can give you factory steering controls on an aftermarket unit. A male SMB digital aerial receiver. DIN FM female FM aerial receiver, not digital, that's the digital one, and then our microphone will go in there. So red for microphone on Sony's, blue for steering wheel controls, FM aerial, DAB aerial, GPS, USB Type-C, HDMI mini, power, simple, RCAs, and then you got your little clip there for your cable ties. Right, shall we power him up? Let's see what he does. Ooh, exciting. Flick him on. Let's see what happens. So we've got Sony's traditional white lighting on the key and a nice little emblem that pops up. Right, I'm going to come round, sit with you guys so I can discuss this from this side. So on the initial setup, we've got a choice of different languages. So if we go into different languages, you've got all these kind of options that you can select. Obviously I am Spanglish, so we'll stick with English. Demo mode here, you can turn that off. If you left that on over certain time durations, the unit would start doing stuff on its own. Let me just make sure you're not getting mad glare from that. Is that better? There we go. So yes, you can turn demo mode off here. You can do it afterwards as well. Date and time settings, so you can go in there and set your date and time. This may be able to do it with GPS as well, because obviously it will know where the unit is within the world, and you could probably set it to that as well, I would have thought. Radio tuning steps, kilohertz for the FM, and that's pretty much our options. So let's press OK. Obviously for safety, observe traffic laws, regulations while driving, i.e. if you're watching a film driving down the road, you're an idiot. And then it clicks onto our main screen. So we've got a nice little Sony icon here. Obviously I would personally peel that off afterwards, but we've got radio, we've got DAB, we've got Bluetooth, we've got phone, and we've got settings. And then we've got our applications, we've got devices, we've got rear camera input, we've got HDMI input, and we've got USB. Nice little menu, nice and simple. The keys, they have a really nice satisfying click to them. I don't know whether you can hear that. Really positive touch. That's nice. And our center button there is, at the minute, I guess that's our, I think that's, okay, it's like a mode button, so you can switch between, but that's the one you can change. So you can change that button to do lots of different things. We haven't got radio connected because we will get copyrighted anyway. We've got voice button here so we can reference Google. Now I did bring my phone up. Well, managed to get one. Hopefully this is going to work. This is from the motor guys across the way, the parts guys. But they said they had Type-C to Type-C, and we do. So let me just plug that little connector in there. In he goes. Is this going to be a full speed connection, or is it going to be charging only? Ooh, there we go. So you get this little message on your phone when it's safe to do so. Unlock your phone. So I'll just unlock it. You're not knowing my password. Set up on your car. And then we go into this section and it gives you the option for Android Auto. We'll press OK. There we go. So we got my, no, that's not my address. We've got music, we've got all the applications. With Android Auto, you press that little button down there and you've got all your bits and oh, it's nice and slick. The screen is soft, I can report that. That may sound really weird, but some screens feel quite bitty. But that's really, really nice and soft and smooth, and it's dead fast too. So we've got different options, applications, music, a bit of Phil Collins if you like that sort of thing. It's very quick, very nice and ergonomic. So it gives us a brief rundown of CarPlay and Android Auto, obviously this being Android Auto because I use that, not Apple. But yeah, we have a nice fast map. We can close that up. We can scroll in, we can zoom around. It's very fast, very nice. The colours are vibrant too, so it's a nice plain looking screen, but the colours are nice and vibrant, nice and clear. And we can go back to where we are. Same thing with most phones. Obviously you've got your 2-fingered zoom and you can move your mapping around if you wanted to view things. Music wise, yeah, album artwork, you've got your playing track and you can move your song forwards. Yeah, very nice unit, very nice indeed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck it in a car. Literally, no, I'm going to fit it in a car and we're going to have a play with it for a few days, and I will come back to you and report how it goes, how it works out. Obviously we'll sort out that button, we'll assign that to something. But yeah, Sony's new unit. Let me grab the box. What did I do with the box? There it is. So full CarPlay, Wi-Fi, Android Auto, digital radio and Bluetooth, DAB, and that's the Sony XAV-AX6050. Very cool. Well done, Sony. Nice unit. I'm going to use it for a couple of weeks and see how we get on with it. I'll come back to you soon. Bye.